And we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the third part of the show, we are now going to preview the NFC Championship game between the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. So, obviously, I talked about this the last time these two teams met was back in Week 1 of the 2021 season. Jared Goff's first start as the Lions quarterback. That game, final score of that game was 41-33. The 49ers were up by as much as 38-10, and then the Lions made things interesting. They actually had a chance to tie the game because the 49ers, they picked up a first down. Deebo Samuel fumbled, the Lions got the ball back, but they weren't able to cash in on it, and they ended up losing by a score. But then the Lions went on to have a bad season. Now these two teams very different since that last encounter. Obviously, Brock Purdy's now the quarterback for the 49ers. The Lions are a much better team than they were back then. Coming into this game, the Lions are a 7-point underdog, so that hasn't moved throughout the week. Line is still +7 for the Lions. We still don't know what the status for Deebo Samuel is for this game. He was actually limited on Thursday. I think he's going to end up playing. The weather is supposed to be nice for this game. It's 77 degrees. I don't know why I thought it was going to be that there was a possibility it was going to be bad weather. But that was like earlier in the week. Things change. Looking at the league rankings of these two teams, both teams are top 10 in passing yards per game. The Lions are 4th. The Niners are 6th. Both teams are top 10 in rushing. The Niners are 3rd. The Lions are 5th. And both teams are top 5 in points per game. The Niners are 3rd and the Lions are 5th. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball. The Lions, again, the pass defense has been a problem. They're 29th, giving up 268.4 passing yards per game. The Niners are 14th, so they're middle of the pack, 232.3. And that's where I think the Lions can be successful. If they could give Jared Goff time in this game, I feel like the Lions can exploit the 49ers secondary because, listen, they got weapons too. AmonRaSt.Brown, Sam Laporta, Josh Reynolds has been making plays for them as well. So that's a matchup I'm curious to see how that goes. But again, the Lions offensive line has to hold up against this 49ers pass rush. And then, of course, you have both teams are actually top 3 against the run. The Lions are giving up an average of 88.8 rushing yards per game, which is 2nd in the NFL. And the 49ers are 3rd, giving up an average of 89.7 rushing yards per game. Points allowed, Niners defense is 3rd, and the Lions defense is 23rd. So, listen, Brock Purdy struggled last week in the game against the Packers. This could be a bounce back game for him. This game has the potential to be high scoring. But this Lions pass rush, if this Lions pass rush can get home and get both quarterbacks, it's very similar. If both pass rushes can get the opposing quarterback off their spot, you could force turnovers, force them into mistakes, but if you give these guys time to throw, they can pick you apart. Jared Goff works really well off of play action. Deebo Samuel is questionable for this game. So let's look at the other injuries for this going into this game as well. So on the Lions side, Alex Anzalone, he had rib injury. He was limited on Thursday. He's questionable. Sam Laporta, who has played, he's still dealing with the knee injury, of course. He was limited. Frank Ragnow, he did not practice on Thursday. Their center, because I think he got hurt in the Bucs game. He got hurt in the Bucs game. So that could be a big loss there if he doesn't play in this game. Khalif Raymond did not practice on Thursday, so it maybe looks like an uphill battle for him to play in this game. Josh Reynolds was limited with the rib injury. Brock Wright was placed on injured reserve. That's why they brought in Zach Ertz to back up Laporta. Then on the 49ers side of things, Deebo Samuel is the big injury. Limited on Thursday. questionable for the NFC Championship game. But for me, I think he's going to play. Now, in terms of how I see this game playing out, I mean, listen, I had the 49ers winning this game. I have them winning the Super Bowl. Again, more so with my heart as opposed to my head. I would love to see the Lions win this game, and I think they definitely can, because, how the 49ers, how Brock Purdy performed on offense last week, makes me pause a little bit, because, that could happen again this week. Again, you could look at the weather. You could talk about maybe, the layoff, because, again, the last time they played was week 17, so it was a while. So maybe that could be why. Deebo Samuel being hurt, we saw what happened earlier in the season. When he doesn't play, they struggle. Now, they did win against the Packers, but the Packers did play. Packers played really well. They outplayed them for pretty much the whole game. So we'll see what happens here. But I think the 49ers should win this game, but I think it's going to be a close game. We've seen the 49ers back end struggle this year. When they've given opposing quarterbacks time to throw, they've struggled on the back end. Again, I go back to Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins, what they were able to do against them earlier in the season. And listen, the Lions have a lot of weapons on this team, and they have a good running game. And that was the other thing, too. I was surprised at how well the Packers ran the football against the Niners defense. Aaron Jones had a good game. Now you got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery coming in. Jahmyr Gibbs has been great in the second half of the season. David Montgomery's been solid for them all year. That could definitely wear this 49ers defense down. We saw the Eagles last year in the championship game, with their running game. The Lions, they got a good running game themselves. And, they could definitely wear down the Niners in this game. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. And again, the pass rush with Aiden Hutchinson, they got to get home. They got to get Brock Purdy off his spot. And if they're able to do that, they really got a puncher's chance in this game. I really do believe that. Brock Purdy's got to go out and perform. You got rely on your weapons. You got Christian McCaffrey, you got George Kittle, you got Brandon Ayuk. Even if you don't have Deebo Samuel, you got all those guys to throw to. Juwan Jennings makes plays for them. And with the Lions' pass defense not being that good, I think the Niners, they could exploit that, which is why this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think, for me, if the Lions jump out to a lead in this game, that might be I don't want to say like that's insurmountable, because if they jump out to an insurmountable lead, I don't think the Niners are coming back. But if they go up by maybe like 2 scores, I don't know if the Niners are going to be able to come back. I don't know, because they're great when they're ahead, but if they're trailing, are they going to be able to come back? Because then that's just going to all the momentum is going to be the Lions. So the Lions pretty much got to do something similar to some of the other teams in the playoffs, where you got to get the ball, go right on the road, get the ball, go right down the field, and score. That's what you got to do. Set the tone for this game. And if you do that, then you put the pressure on the 49ers. And, I could see that, kind of, affecting the Niners a little bit. But I think also for the Lions, too, if they fall behind, by a couple of scores, would they be able to come back? I don't know, because, then you got to deal with the pass rush, and, the 49ers defense could just pin their ears back and, rush the passer, and then the 49ers can just rely on Christian McCaffrey to kind of just, drain the clock, and, they could just run the football. But I don't know. I think for me this game is going to be competitive throughout. But I think the 49ers they'll sneak by, and they will win this game. I think that the final score, I'm going to say the final score is 31-27. I think that'll be the final score of this game. I'm going to go with that. I think the Lions will cover the number. I just think they have too good of an offense, and I think that the back end of the 49ers defense is a weakness there, like I've talked about a lot, and I feel like they'll be able to move the ball. But again, with their center possibly being out and Frank Ragnow, that could be an issue, because you got to deal with Bosa and Chase Young and Armstead. Yeah, that's gonna be an issue. Then of course also Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw as well. They're linebackers, some of the best linebackers in the league. Their front seven is one of the best in the NFL, if not the best. But again, it's just their back end. That's a problem. So, but if the Lions could give Jared Goff time, because Jared Goff and Brock Purdy, they're not, not like, the other game we're going to talk about. I mean, obviously Lamar Jackson is the most elusive quarterback in the league, but him and Patrick Mahomes are mobile. They're mobile. These guys, I mean, Jared Goff and Brock Purdy, they can move around. They're mobile a little bit, but they're not as mobile as Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. So that could be, if the pass rush gets home, on either side, it's going to be a problem for the opposing QB. But again, the center being out possibly for Ragnow being out possibly for the Lions could be a huge loss. Well, let's see. Because I was looking at CBS. Let's see if maybe there's any other update. Because I forgot he did get injured. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Is the engine that makes the Lions offense roar. That's one of the headlines. But that's not good. But yeah, he's among 4 Lions players not practicing. So we'll see. Oh wait, now I see this is a headline here. MLive.com says Frank Ragnow expects to play despite 4 injuries. Sam Laporta among 4 listed as out. This is from a day ago. All right, so I don't know how legit this is, but we'll keep an eye on it. But again, if he's out, that's a problem for that offensive line. Because again, you're going up against a really good pass rush. So we'll keep an eye on that. But let me know what you guys think about this game. I'm really excited. I mean, both games I'm excited for. This, of course, is the later game. This will be at, I think, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, on Fox. No streaming service. Don't worry about that. We're good for now. 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Santa Clara on Fox. And we'll see. It's a trip to the Super Bowl, and Jared Goff, if he wins, he'll be playing in his second Super Bowl. If Brock Purdy wins, he'll be playing in his first. So obviously, I talked about that in the in the last segment. But it should be a good game. I think it should be a good game. I hope it's a good game. But both teams have their weaknesses, particularly the pass defenses. I mean, the Lions are worse than the 49ers pass defense, but still, that's a weakness of these teams. So, like I said, both quarterbacks got time to throw. This could be a shootout. So we'll see. I think the Lions are going to find success running the football, because if the Packers were able to do it with Aaron Jones, I think with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, the Lions are going to be able to do the same thing as well. And I think they're going to be motivated. So we'll see how it plays out. We will see how it plays out. So we're going to take our final break of the show. And then when we come back, we will then discuss now the AFC Championship game between Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, which will be played first. But I think, most people, I think more people are excited about that. And, also want to see the Chiefs go down, for this game. So, that's where, again, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. That's the reason why. That's why. Not to say the NFC Championship game is not going to be good, but this is, I think, the sexier matchup of the two, and I think most people would agree with that. So that's what we'll talk about when we come back from our final break of the show. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.